Welcome to the Blackhat special edition of CyberBytes the podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Cooper, co-founder of Aspiron Search. I get to sit down with Aaron Estes, CEO at Ironwood Cyber, a Blackhat and DefCon Veteran with one of the most impressive badge collections I've ever seen. Aaron shares his rise from programming at the age of just 8 years old, becoming a Lockheed Martin fellow and founding Ironwood Cyber, as well as their new product updates and rebranding from RX to Enlight.
Right, and we're on. Introducing Aaron, CEO at Ironwood Cyber.
Good to see you. Good to meet you. Yeah, doing great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I've got to ask, mate, the badge.
The badge. Yeah. So my company, we are at heart, we are hackers, and most of us have been coming to Blackhat and DefCon for many, many years now, and really got into the badge kind of scene, just hacking badges, making badges, and so my team came up with this idea that we wanted to make a fun badge. We did a Tron badge last year. This year is obviously an Iron Man badge. It's pretty epic. Each of these is actually a touch button that you can control the badge with. Okay. There's a mobile app that you can pair with it. There's a game that you play, like a CTF, and you can collect Infinity Stones. It's pretty epic.
Yeah, class. A lot of time, effort goes into it. So I was at DefCon last year, and it was fascinating. You had to sort of like hack and then sync with other, and it was just, honestly, I was a little bit.
Yeah. This badge reacts when you're near other people that are wearing the badge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Great. Well, look, Aaron, with all my guests, brother, what we've been doing is going sort of back to where it all began, how you got into the field, run through your career to date.
Right.
Where did it start, man?
Started for me, it started before, like kind of in high school, and even before that, my brother taught me to program when I was about 8 years old, and so just loved all things computers and hacking, and got into that in college, and then got a job at Lockheed Martin working as a software engineer and then cybersecurity engineer, where I became a Lockheed Martin fellow, which is their highest engineering position, and did that, loved that job, it was amazing. But then had the opportunity to start something on my own, and I'd always dreamed of doing that. And so we really just looked for some problems to solve. I mean, when you're around an industry for 20 years, you can't help but know where the problems are. And so we picked a few of those issues, a few of those challenges, and really went after them. And my team is just amazing. They can do anything. So it's been a fun adventure.
Yeah, amazing. Talking of the team, did you found with ex-colleagues, friends?
I did. So another Lockheed Martin fellow, Ethan Pucciatti, is my co-founder.
Yep.
And then our chief architects are both from Lockheed Martin.
Are they happy with you?
They were not. I was on a list. I was on a list for a little while for taking a lot of their top talent. The good thing was, I like to say, probably my biggest achievement at Lockheed Martin was the relationships that I made with people and getting to know some of the brightest, best rock star cybersecurity experts in the business. And then the fact that they joined me on this journey. When I asked, I thought they were all going to tell me hell no, but they were like, hey, let's do this. Let's make something on our own. So I was fortunate to really bring on the best of the best from a company like Lockheed Martin, who hires the best of the best.
Yeah. How big's the business at the moment?
So we have 18 developers and we have 2 biz dev right now, so 2 people doing sales and business development. And this is our second year. We're not quite 2 years old yet. So we just finished at the beginning of this year kind of both of our product lines.
Yep.
And then we are relaunching one of our products under a new name here at Blackhat.
Let's talk about it, mate. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. So before it was called Ironwood Cyber RX, which we were targeting healthcare at the time, so RX made sense.
Yep.
It's cybersecurity as a service. You can think of it as automated assessments, right? So what we wanted was that tool that when we were doing manual intensive penetration testing and cybersecurity assessments, we wanted that tool that can do all of the things that we hate doing, right? All of the everyday, okay, I gotta run this scanner, I gotta get the input from this and put it in, do all of those things. And so we kind of built the tool that we wished we had 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were doing red teaming and penetration testing. We really did kind of create that turnkey solution this thing has surprised us even. We're pen testers at heart, and we always think it's an art form, and it takes human intelligence, which it does, but a lot of what's done in an assessment can be automated and should be automated. And so that's kind of what we put our effort into, was solving that problem so that we could scale cyber assessments. They don't scale, right? You have to hire a consultant, which means that consultancy has to hire a bunch of people. It's really, really difficult to scale. It's the old, you sell it product margins versus like service margins. It's just really hard to make a lot of money and to make a difference doing that. So that's really one of the big things that we went to solve. One of the problems that we went to solve.
So RX, and is it being
rebranded? So what we did is we took our tool, which we had added automation into RX, and but it was kind of, hey, run this tool, run this tool, run this tool. Enlight, the new version of our product, Enlight is much more intelligent, and instead of just saying do this, then this, then this, it analyzes the data and then makes a data-driven decision of what should happen next. So that we're not running all these tools. It's not necessary to run all the tools all the time, right? There's certain situations don't require this tool or that technique. And so our decision engine within Enlight is now smart enough to know, oh, if they have this situation, then I do this next assessment technique. And it makes it much more optimal. So we can get through what would normally be about a 2 to 4 week pen test. We're able to get through it in sometimes half a day to 2-3 days. A week at most is the longest test that we've had, and that was on a big, large environment.
What sort of cost saving with that?
So it's easiest to describe that in time and effort, which is about 80% time and effort. Yeah. So we can take a 2-week pen test and turn it. We did this. We took a 2-week pen test and turned it into a 4.5-hour pen test. And then the reports are auto generated.
Yeah.
And the results were almost identical. We had the same level of access. We did it both ways. We did it manual first, and then we ran our tool. The manual one took almost 2 weeks, got a certain level of access, and then we did our tool, got the same level of access with similar, almost identical findings in a fraction of the time. So that's the big difference. You can do it more often then too. So you can check up. We talk about continuous red teaming and being able to continuously assess your company, not once a year. I tell people that's like checking to see if your doors are locked once a year. Like, would you do that? Things change every day. People come in and out. Things open up and close. And so we really need to get to that continuous assessment. And this is the first step in kind of doing that.
Nice. So I love the name, by the way, Enlight. That's great.
Thank you.
So is it just one product? Have you got a couple? Or?
Enlight comes in 3 flavors right now, or under that umbrella. So we have Enlight external. So that's the perimeter scans, which is a lot like an ASM. It's kind of a smart, intelligent ASM. And then we have Enlight internal, which is the internal network style penetration testing, like a traditional pen test. Again, all automated, works very, very fast, very seamless. And then we have, we're working on Enlight Vigilance, which is our kind of SIM-SOC type of continuous monitoring. So we're adding that piece in as well.
Who's this for? Is this in terms of target market?
So probably our sweet spot is mid to small-sized companies. I think it works best for them. But what we found is it's also a force multiplier. If you're an enterprise and you've got a red team and they're doing their thing, this makes their job a lot faster and they can concentrate on other things that require more human, analytics and things, and leave the automated work to us. So it really does turn into kind of a force multiplier, even for the largest teams. It also helps address like that cybersecurity gap in the supply chain, where you've got all these lower level companies that can't defend themselves. They don't know how, they don't have the resources, they can't hire cybersecurity teams. Consulting is very expensive. And so this gives them a way to assess their security and to come up with a plan to be able to address their cybersecurity at the lowest level, the vendor level of the supply chain, which is where the change needs to happen, not up here, right? It needs to happen at the bottom. And it's being driven from the top right now, which is just not really working. So
yeah. Obviously, the threat landscape's constantly evolving. How are you guys keeping up to date with that? Because obviously the attacks are just getting probably the same as most people do. Our guys are longtime career penetration testers, and we take that feedback. What we constantly do is we do manual testing alongside our automated testing, and then feed that information back in. So we have a red team. We don't have to hire a lot of red teamers because most of the work is done by Enlight. But the ones the guys that we do have, what they do is they validate those findings, and they go in and they'll look at the results, and they'll say, wait a minute, I'd really like to go look at this further. And they might find something
that the tool didn't find. And it's very easy for us. The framework allows us then to go add that. We call them atomics there's a framework called the Atomic Red Team, which a lot of people will be familiar with from MITRE. It's kind of attached to the MITRE attack matrix. But every check that we do is called an atomic, and it's very easy for us to create new atomics or to release atomics, or we create what's called a run book of atomics. And that basically tells us what assessments we need to run, what tools and techniques we need to use.
Yeah, nice. So, what's the future for Ironwood?
I think the future really is to make cyber assessments available to anyone and everyone at the drop of a hat on demand, and really from there pull in the rest of the cybersecurity operations and start to automate anything that should be automated. In order to really scale and expand the reach of the cybersecurity community, because again, right now we're not reaching a lot of those smaller to mid-sized companies who just can't afford it, or they don't know or they're spending way too much on this tool or that, but they really are not getting what they think they're getting out of it.
Yeah, for sure. What about expansion plans and things like that?
So we're actually heading into our Series A funding towards the end of this year. And so we're looking to expand the team mostly on the marketing and sales. Our engineering is doing amazing. Those guys, like I said, they can build anything. They're really good at what they do. So we may add a little bit of help there, but we're really looking to build the business development and the marketing side to kind of break into this industry that's really exploded. I mean, you go to Blackhat now and don't recognize the people that I used to recognize on the floor. It's just so many new companies and new things, which is great. But you have to kind of navigate through that and figure out how you're gonna achieve what you're looking to achieve.
Well, because obviously, look, you're obviously a hacker. Colleagues are hackers. What sort of skills, like attributes, are you looking for from your staff? You obviously think very technical, don't you?
Right. We do. I would say there's two big things, because I teach also. So I'm a professor at Southern Methodist University. And I've hired several of my rockstar students. And what I really look for in those guys are guys who don't give up. I mean, that's the thing, is the try harder mentality. That's the thing you can't teach. And then I look for those guys that really understand the basics, the foundation. If people don't really know, I had to take this assembly programming class or whatever, but I really didn't learn anything or forgot everything I learned. You can't do that in the cybersecurity industry. The devil is in the details. You have to know how things work at the very lowest level. You have to know your basics. And so I look for those guys that are solid on the basics. And then when they encounter an issue, they don't let that stop them. They just, they keep going. They try harder. I mean, those are the two, kind of main things. I can take somebody who doesn't know cybersecurity at all, but who is very curious and who is a problem solver and a puzzle solver, and I can turn them into a better cybersecurity professional than somebody who may have had a lot of schooling, but they really give up easy, or they don't know the basics. They just kind of know the buzzwords. They don't really know how things work under the covers. So that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, wish you all the best of success with Ironwood, my man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this was awesome. I'm glad we got to chat.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed today's show, please like and share with your friends and colleagues, as this is really important for the show's reach. If you'd like to be our next guest or are interested in Aspiron Search's staffing solutions, please get in touch directly with me or reach out to us via our website www.aspironsearch.com.